sports car enthusiasts will welcome back the Alpine brand and its first credible modern-era contender, the A110 Coupe. Light, lithe and rather lovely, in many ways it redefines what a £50,000 sports car can be. I wish I'd driven an old A110, but now I've tried this one, I've got some idea of what it might have been like. Agile, eager and uncorrupted by technology. Don't get discouraged that the 1.8 litre twin-turbo engine's 252 PS output's fairly modest for a £50,000 sports car. The super lightweight aluminium platform gives this car the kind of power-to-weight ratio you'd get in a mid-level Porsche 911, costing half as much again. And lightweight, as we all know, is a gift that just keeps on giving. In this case, it catapults you up the road from rest to 62 miles an hour in just 4.5 seconds, which is just as quick as a Porsche 718 Cayman S with 100 PS more, and on to a maximum speed that has to be artificially restrained at 155 miles an hour. There are 3 driving modes: normal, sport and track, all of which tweak steering, throttle response, the exhaust note and the shift times of the responsive 7-speed DCT paddle shift auto gearbox that you have to have. Once you've mastered it all, you can feel really confident at speed in this car on twisty secondaries. Partly because of the responsive steering, which always delivers the intimate connection to the tarmac that this Alpine wants you to have, and partly because of the double wishbone all-round suspension setup, which gives a longer degree of vertical wheel travel, keeping the bespoke Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyres in better contact with the road surface. The result is a car that breathes and flows over poor surfaces rather than getting upset and thrown offline by them. Cornering's aided by a system that brakes the inner wheels at speed through sharp turns to maximise traction. Plus, there's launch control for Grand Prix-style getaways, a powerful set of Brembo brakes, and an optional telemetric system that allows you to analyse your driving performance in real time and get the most from track days. The A110's pretty everyday usable too, thanks to that supple suspension and reasonable cruising refinement. That lightweight helps efficiency as well. Alpine claims a combined cycle NEDC fuel figure of 44.1 miles to the gallon and a CO2 reading of 144 grams per kilometre. The A110 is based almost completely on the Alpine Vision concept car that the brand showed to the press in Monaco back in 2016. It's an attractive, distinctive thing, though inevitably perhaps not quite as eye-catching as the model that inspired its badging, the A110 Berlinette of 1969, styled by Giovanni Michelotti and recognised widely as one of the most beautiful sports cars of all time. What might that car look like now if it hadn't been discontinued in 1977, but instead had evolved through the decades? Something like this, perhaps? And once inside, well, it's small in here, of course it is. This is a 1-ton sports car. We're not going to say it's cramped, though, because it isn't. Yes, you're positioned on very familiar terms with your passenger, but then that's all part of the experience. Even so, the hard plastic surfaces, the less than cutting-edge infotainment provision, and the preponderance of Renault switchgear will all be somewhat underwhelming for more mature sports car buyers looking for an easy life. But then that wasn't the kind of customer the Alpine designers were aiming at. The sort of person who'll love an A110 will probably like it precisely because of the race-ready, stripped-out feel. The leather-trimmed, 6-way adjustable Sebelt comfort seats that most customers will want certainly have a very DTM demeanour, and the floating centre console and exposed seat brackets confer a sense of purpose and lightness. You can option in this aluminium passenger footrest if you think your co-driver will need something to brace themselves against as you throw this little sports car about. And the steering wheel features that classic Renault Sport touch, the 12 o'clock marker here in blue Alpine top stitching. Through that wheel, you view a neat digital instrument cluster that changes its look and layout, depending on the driving mode that you've chosen, adjusted by this big red push button on the steering wheel, with more or less information and driving data being displayed as required. Now, we mentioned infotainment. It's provided via this 7-inch centre dash screen, which delivers navigation, a DAB tuner, Bluetooth, and the option of a bespoke Focal audio system that's surprisingly good, given that it only has 2 speakers. When it comes to luggage areas, you're reminded of this car's mid-engine configuration, because like nearly all such sports cars, it has luggage areas in both the front and the back. Now, despite the need to accommodate the fuel tank here in the nose section, there's actually slightly more space here. Alpine reckons there's 100 litres and says that there's enough space here to accommodate a couple of airline carry-on cases placed side by side. This is what a Lotus Evora could be like, it's what an Alfa 4C ought to be like, and it's what a Porsche 718 Cayman would be like if it let its hair down a bit. What's been delivered here is one of the most rewarding and entertaining cars you can buy at any price. Yes, there are things about it that you may not like, but if you corrected them, this A110 would probably be heavier, slower, and less effervescent. We'll leave the final words to company founder Jean Riddell. The most fun I ever had, he once said, was driving through the Alps in my Renault 4CV, and it was essential for me that my customers should experience this same level of enjoyment in the cars I wanted to build. Well, this one delivers on that promise. He would have liked it.